Hello. Let's see. Hi everyone. I am actually just getting a few things set up on the actual page. I am letting in, well, we had like a ton of member requests that I didn't see earlier this morning, so I am super grateful and I hope that they can join us. Okay, give me 1 second while we get set up. How's everybody doing today? Hi Greg. Hey Ricky. I'm so glad you guys are here. So I normally have some help doing these lives, just like posting links and stuff. So I am actually trying to just get us set up and then we will get rolling. Super pumped for today. Where is it? Hey Christina. Hi Serena. Hey Dee Dee. Hey Carol. Give me just a second, guys. I hope you guys are having the most beautiful day. I have already done one session today, and I have this live class that we're doing, and then I have another session. Okay, here we are. So, how's everyone doing today? I'm so excited. Okay, so normally when I do lives, I'm just kind of riffing and I'm just kind of going off of, you know, topics that we had thought about or topics that had come up in another session, or even, so I'm looking at my computer today, guys, and I'm going to be looking at you just so you guys know. So I usually just kind of go off on different topics on what we've talked about in the past, or I will have like a lesson of the day, or we'll do a question and answer. But this 3-day series I'm super pumped about. It's called Elevation Through Illumination. And hey Kelly, illumination through bringing the light in is what I mean by that. Illumination through allowing your own light, allowing your own intuition to pull you out of any sort of darkness that you may have or may have experienced in the past. So I don't want to jump too far ahead because I do have quite a few slides here. Like, we're doing an actual workshop, you guys, for the next 3 days, every day at the same time. And like I said, normally I have some help, but today I am all on my own and I'm super excited about it. So we're going to be talking about how our intuition often shows up long before we ever realize that we're intuitive at all. How our anxieties and depression and different feelings of unworthiness can actually stem from or be symptoms of unmanaged intuition. It took me so long to figure this out, and I've had I've had the intuitive development program for a long time, actually since it's what started Light, Love, and Spirit, actually, now that I think about it. Hey, Francesca. So when I had started my blog, and here I go getting ahead of myself, but when I had started my blog, I didn't really think anybody was reading it. Like, I remember the day that I got 25 page views on a single blog post, and I was like jumping for the moon. Now that's usually like more like 2,000, and you know, like 2,000 a day or something like that, and it fluctuates. But I remember those 25 views, and I remember like people started emailing me, how do you do this? Can you teach me what you do? Can you give me a reading? And so from there, I kind of just was like, okay. And I started taking on clients every day after work. Like, I was working it was more like a 7:30 to close to 5, coming home, doing dinner with my family, putting my son to bed, and going back to work until like 11:30 at night. And I got burnt out really quickly. And so I took the trainings that I was doing and I put them into a written program. And then I realized like, we need more. So then I made that written program into a video program, and it's just literally evolved every single year since then. And so something that I really wanted to do this year was get clear on like, okay, I know why I started it. I know what pushed me to start teaching what I teach, but how did I get here? How did I actually get here? What led me to this place? And what led me here was I was dealing with my own depression. I was dealing with a lot of symptoms that come from unmanaged intuition, and I never really talked about it. I've mentioned it here and there on the blog or here and there in a live, but I've never really explained how it can show up. So that's what we're gonna do today. So you guys, we have a ton of new people in the group. Like I just let in 13 more people into the group as I was on this live with you. So I wanna say welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody that's new here. To anybody who doesn't know me, I want to just explain who I am. So I'm a mom, I am a wife. I have been with my husband since I was 17 years old. I have 2 awesome kids, and I'm a pretty normal person. I just happen to also be a medium and be an intuitive development teacher. I started with my gifts, or I started learning about my gifts probably about my son's 6, so probably about 7 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that actually. And my journey was just about learning to get happy. So I am a recovering people pleaser, like completely. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I am a total self-love advocate. Hi, Maddie. And yeah, I'm a total self-love advocate. Like, that is one thing I believe that truly changed my life, was learning how to appreciate myself. And the way that I learned to appreciate myself was through the things that I'm going to teach you in this 3-day course. So today we're going to talk about, our agenda for day 1 is depression and mindset. Are they symptoms of unmanaged intuition? Day 2 is how to move through fear and to begin to trust. So this is going to be trusting you, this is going to trusting yourself, this is going to be trusting spirit. And then day 3 is going to be tapping into unlimited possibilities. So that's what's on our agenda. So I keep going back and forth. So now I'm going to stay on track. So who I am, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I am the owner of lightloveandspirit.com. It started as a blog. It started as a way for me to document my intuitive journey, and now it's just a source, like the go-to source, actually one of the top 3 actually go-to sources for people to learn to manage their intuition, understand who they are, understand about spirit, and just how it all wraps in as a whole. So my website has a ton, like I'm in another group, a coaching group, and she's actually like, one of the girls was like, you have so much content, like a lifetime worth of content. How do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I also don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. So it's like, it's an endless resource pretty much. Hundreds of articles on my website, lightloveandspirit.com. So what I do there, what I do as a coach, what I do as a teacher, I do mindset work. I teach you how to change your mind. I teach you how to reprogram your mind. I teach manifestation training. I also teach mediumship and teaching happiness through intuitive development, because that's, for me, these are all separate things to other people, but for me, you cannot have any one of these things without having another. You cannot really develop your intuition if you're not willing to raise your vibration. You can't raise your vibration if you don't change your mind. You can't manifest without spirit, and you can't work with spirit without somehow manifesting, because your vibe is going to be so high, right? So, and we're always manifesting anyways, but that's another thing that I talk about in these 3 days together, is how to manifest the things that you want, or how you get to the point of manifesting the things that you want after you work through the things that we're going to talk about, the depression, the fear, trusting, and learning all about your own intuition to allow it to expand you. So, okay. How did I get here? So I've already told you about the website, but I really want to dig into me as an intuitive, like my whole story and how I got here and what life was like for me. So I was anxious. I was always anxious, always worried, always, honestly, my mindset was like, well, what's gonna go wrong next? Or of course that happened. Like I was just really, hi Maria, I was just a really negative person, to be honest with you. I think I've always been a pretty nice person, but I was a very negative person. I never saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't think things would work out for me. I thought what is just is what is, and it doesn't get any better than that, and you just kind of go through life and shit happens to you, and then you just keep rolling. I was also always sick. I was sick all the time. Like, my husband used to get annoyed with me because I was sick so much, I think. But I was, like, as a child and as I got older, and then right before I started doing this work, I was always freaking sick. Like, I would get stomach bugs all the time. I would get colds all the time. Like, I was just always sick. Like, that's the only way I can put it. And as soon as I started doing this work, I started getting happier. I started setting boundaries with myself. I started setting boundaries with other people. I started deciding what I was available for and what I wasn't. And I remember one of the first things that I decided that I wasn't available for, and everybody told me that I was crazy because I was just speaking it out loud, was I wasn't available for getting sick. I don't get sick anymore. That was something that I would say. I just don't get sick anymore. And I kid you guys not, I probably only get sick maybe twice a year now. Like, twice a year. I do believe that at the beginning of this year, we had COVID before it was like, I think my husband had it in January. I think I had it in February, before it was like, you know, a real thing that we knew to test for and stuff like that. Had fevers, cough, went to the doctor, got the flu test, everything. And I will say that his was like a lot worse than mine and was outlasted mine a lot longer. And not that, you know, it's a competition, but I just really feel like because of the work that I do, because of the vibration that I live my life, and because of my decision not to get sick, even when I do get sick, it's less time than it should be, and it's not as hard as it should be, and I recover a lot more quickly. So I don't know if that speaks to anyone. Like, if you're someone that always is getting sick or always is feeling drained, or you always have like these weird ailments show up in your body, I would definitely invite you to look at if you're an empath or not, because empaths take on other people's stuff, and that weighs within our body. If we aren't clearing that out, like, it's gotta manifest somehow. It's gotta get out of your body somehow. So how are those things going to be released from your body? They're going to be released in anger. They're going to be released in sickness. They're going to be purged from your body somehow. So if you are an intuitive, if you are empathic, and you're not clearing your energy often, and you're not setting the boundaries, and we're going to talk about all of this, then it's you might find that you get sick very, very often. And that was one of like the biggest benefits. Like, of course, getting happier was one, and of course working with spirit was one, but I can't tell you guys how often I was sick. And so that was just like this major benefit of shifting my mind, of shifting my whole life, was like, yeah, I just don't really get sick anymore. Like, maybe twice a year. Knock on wood. So another thing was, you know, I was just sad. I was sad all the time. And I had spent my whole life, you guys, from the time I was probably, if I'm being completely honest, I remember it the most from 12. And I also remember my intuitive gifts like really amping up around 12. But if I'm being honest, I had probably dealt with depression since I was like 5 to 7 years old. And I don't know that I've ever actually said that out loud, but it was just this constant like battle. And I just always felt like I was fighting myself. I don't know how to explain it, like fighting myself or fighting someone in my family, or fighting to not feel the things that I was feeling as an empath, and not notice the things that I was noticing as an intuitive when my gifts would show up. Like, it was just, I was depressed, I was sad, I was pessimistic. And then something interesting that developed. So I mentioned, you know, this work helped me to stop getting sick all the time. Through my depression and my anxiety, as a means of control, I developed, as a teenager, I believe, I developed OCD. Like, my room would be erect during the day as a teenager, right? And then right before bed, I would go in and I would like shift things around and like make sure they were perfect, make sure nothing was being moved an inch. I had a ridiculous bedtime routine where I would check under my bed, check in the closets, check behind the doors like 3-4 times. Like every single night I did this, because my nightmares were so bad, and because I would get like sleep paralysis and just feel so watched while I was sleeping. Like, it was just so much. And so I developed this kind of like OCD pattern Well, that continued throughout my entire life. I would do that. Or like if I was home alone, go and triple lock the doors 3 times, like check in all the showers, like just really silly things that I did because it was a means of controlling my environment, controlling what was outside of me, the things like, because I knew that I was feeling things, but then I would just triple check to make sure that no one was actually there. And then that actually, after I had my son, turned into like I had health anxieties, and I've only shared that with a few clients. I got really, really bad health anxieties to where I was washing my hands so often that I had like rashes on my hands. And this was one of the points, like I was experiencing depression, postpartum depression, undiagnosed, and then my OCD was so out of control because I was worried about like all of these silly health things that were like I was researching far too much. I went on forums, like just crazy stuff that I was doing because I was so out of whack. Like I couldn't control anything. I was feeling more than I ever did. I was having more dreams than I ever did. I was having more nightmares than I ever did. The house that I was living in at the time, and I think I'm probably getting ahead of myself again, but the house that I'm living in at the time, I was feeling people watching me all the time. Like it was just getting so much. And so out of that, when none of my other stuff was being dealt with, none of the depression, none of the managing my intuition, and my job at the time was very demanding. So like my empathic stuff, none of that was being dealt with. It manifested itself into this massive ball of health anxiety and OCD. And that was one of the things, and I'll get to this in a few slides, but that was one of the things that really, really pushed me to like, okay, Ashley, for me, that was rock bottom and something needed to change. Something needed to shift. And I feel like that's what had to push me. Like I had to physically see it coming out on my hands and these like crazy rashes that I had on my hands. I was driving my husband nuts with how much I was cleaning and like the silly things that I was doing. I wasn't enjoying my kid. I wasn't enjoying my new marriage. Like I wasn't enjoying a lot of things because I was so anxious and overwhelmed. And a lot of it stemmed from my gifts, because the day that I made the declaration of like, I'm done with this, like guide me, show me the way, everything stopped. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. So, you know, I was so unaware of the effect that unmanaged intuition can have on our mental health, on our sanity, on our physical bodies. But the good thing is, and we're going to get to this too, this isn't all negative. The good thing is that when you work with it, when you understand it, when you learn to manage it versus it controlling you, it becomes incredibly beautiful. Incredibly beautiful. You will be guided, and I don't want to give too much away yet, but definitely, you guys, your symptoms of anxiety and depression can emerge as symptoms from your intuition, but your intuition can also pull you out of that darkness if you let it. And in the intuitive development course, I just added 9 new videos, and it launched yesterday. It opened yesterday, and I just added 9 new videos that go over a lot of this stuff. And then there's also like another 30 videos on how to develop and understand and take charge of your intuition. So here are some of my experiences, and maybe you guys can relate. I was dealing with so much on my own, so much, like just the energy in itself that you feel that you can't put a finger on, that's a whole beast in itself, right? Just that energy and feeling the energy and not being able to decipher it and not being able to sift through it and not being able to send it back or say like, this isn't mine. But I was dealing with so much on my own throughout my entire life. I just felt like I was constantly fighting to feel normal. Like I said, I developed these weird habits that made me feel like I was in control, or I would limit myself from groups of people, or I wouldn't go certain places. Like I was holding myself back just to try to make myself feel normal. I have to remind myself to focus, like actually focus, and not to pay attention to the things that I felt. So like if I'm seeing things out of my peripheral, actually focus, don't look at that. That's not real. That's not real. As a kid, you know, when I would see things in my room and I would tell my mom, she's like, oh, you're just stalling or whatever, or you don't want to go to bed. And so I had to like convince myself, don't look over there, because I was a very, very clairvoyant kid. My clairvoyance doesn't show up like it used to. It shows up more internally now, which I'm actually kind of grateful for. And that's a whole nother thing. Like when I started developing my intuition and I was finally like, okay, like I know this is who I am, I'm ready to do this. And I wasn't seeing spirit like crossing in and out of doors. Then I was like, oh, what's wrong with me? And I made this whole thing up. Like, it's just a cycle, right? And that's what I'm going to help you break. That's what I'm going to help you work through. But for me, like, I was just always dealing with so much alone. And when I told an adult, you know, I was looked at like I had 3 heads or sent to a psychiatrist or whatever. So, you know, I had to remind myself not to pay attention to the things that I was seeing, to the things that I was feeling. So feeling from other people, feeling their emotions, feeling energy, feeling like I was being watched. Like I was talking myself out of it all the time, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting to do that. It's exhausting to constantly tell yourself that you're wrong, to lie to yourself, to make yourself feel something that you're not. It's exhausting to try to fit in. It's exhausting to try to be someone that you're not. And that causes depression in and of itself. So I had to pretend like I was being something I wasn't, and like I was feeling things, or that I wasn't feeling things that I was. So I was constantly lying to myself. I was constantly fighting with myself. Nightmares, like bad nightmares, you guys. And actually I got a question this morning, and I don't know if she's on here or not. I'm gonna pause in a minute and look through the comments. But I got a question this morning about if you are in bed and you're having nightmares and there's like a specific spirit that keeps coming to you, or it feels so real and you can feel someone next to you, you know, or this person, you feel that they were harmed or that they need to be crossed over, is this your intuition or is this just a dream? And for me, growing up, I had those things all the time. Like I would feel like I was pinned down, like it was just very uncomfortable. It was bad. It was bad. I was even on sleep medicine at one point, which just made it worse because I had learned to train myself to wake up and out of those dreams. Hey, Mary. So, you know, those things are real, and it's not that, you know, spirit is trying to hurt you. If you're someone, you may not have had these dreams, so don't let this scare you, but it's not that like spirit's trying to hurt you or anything bad's trying to get you. They need your help. They want your light, and we're gonna get to that in a few minutes too. I'm jumping ahead, but when you're an intuitive, you're like this lighthouse, and you don't even know that you're this lighthouse, but you're this lighthouse, and all these boats can come in. Or think about it as in the summer. This is like a better example. In the summer, you're a light, and all these bugs are attracted to your light, right? But you don't have any boundary set up that says you can come in, you cannot come in. And so the ones that need the light, they're going to be more assertive. They're going to be more like pushed to the front of the line. They're going to be the ones like shaking you awake in the middle of the night, like help me, because they want your light to help them to elevate into their light. But that's not your responsibility. So as you learn to do the work, and as you learn to manage your intuitive gifts, it's easy. It's almost instant that when you set your boundaries, those bad things stop happening, those scary things stop happening, and you can sleep through the night again. Like I said, I had bad nightmares, sleep paralysis, developed OCD. I heard noises, and I still do this, but it doesn't scare me anymore. But I heard things that no one else did. I saw things out of my peripheral vision. I always saw faces, shapes, colors, things when I laid down and closed my eyes. Even at times, just like blinking my eyes, I would see things. And that is a sign of clairvoyance. And it's also a sign that, you know, the window or the curtains kind of being pulled open for you to see that you have these gifts, okay? And as a child, like I already said, I saw people in my room, constant feelings of being watched, feeling uneasy, feeling unsettled all of the time, never able to relax because it was like there's just always someone there, and that's a very uncomfortable feeling. Like to live your life like that is such an uncomfortable feeling. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys, half of my slide was cut off. But then I had some really cool things happen too. And the cool things were, so if you know me, or if you've been on my site, if you've hung out on my Facebook page at all, you probably know that my grandparents basically raised me. They were my people. My grandfather was like my dad. My grandmother was like my mom / my best friend. She passed away when I was 19. And right after she passed away, I moved back into their house. It's just crazy how these things work, and I won't get stuck on this long, but I moved out right when I was 18. I got an apartment with a friend. And that night, the night that she passed, I don't know what made me do it, but I went over their house for dinner, and I remember she was like sick and she was in her room. We thought she had the flu. So I ate dinner with my grandpa, and then and this was like something I had to work through, but I remember saying, like, I'm not going to kiss you goodbye, Grandma, because you're sick and I don't want to get it, and I love you. And I remember her saying, I love you, baby. And I left. And then the next day at work, I got a phone call from my mom, and she just said, you need to come home. And I screamed and hung up the phone because I just knew. And so, like, fast forward, crazy how things happen, but my roommate that lived with me just up and left one day. Like, she moved to a different state. Just moved. And so I ended up moving back into my grandparents' house, and the room that I was living in had a door, an attic door, just like the one you see behind me, except it was for an attic. And I was having this very vivid dream of my grandma, and I was like, what are you doing here? Like, you're passed away, you're not supposed to be here. So it's just like not even a couple months later, I'm like, you're not supposed to be here. And in my dream, she started laughing, and she was laughing so loud. And I was like, Grandma, stop, you're waking me up. And then I actually woke up, and my door was moving like this, and it was like very creepy sound, but moving back and forth. And I don't know what made me say it, but I just sat up in my bed, and I was like, Grandma, stop. And then the door stopped, like it just stopped moving. So I went over and I shut the door, and then I like climbed back in bed and like put the covers over my head. Because I was super grateful. I knew without a doubt that it was her. And this is long before I had decided to explore my intuition, right? I knew without a doubt that it was her, but I was also really freaked out. So then, fast forward, and it's a couple years later, I'm in my own house. I have feelings of being watched all the time. I wouldn't even go into my guest room because I got the heebie-jeebies every time I went in there. I kept telling my husband the house is haunted. And he's like, no, it's not. That's not a thing. And he comes in one day like giggling, and he's like, well, our neighbor just said that there was a guy that committed murder that was hiding out in our house. And I'm like jumping up and down, and I was like, I told you the house is haunted. And he's like, well, why would our house be haunted? I was like, because obviously the spirit's looking for the person that hurt him. And then, then it was around that time that I started having more and more dreams of my friends that had passed. Unfortunately, at this time in my life, right now, I have more friends that have passed from overdose than I can even count on two hands. At that time, I think it was about 5. This is my very early 20s. Maybe I was 22. I'm not sure. But I had one of my best friends that I had known since childhood kept showing up in my dreams, and he was being mean and nasty and not himself. And in my dream, I was like, Chris, you can't come to me anymore if this is how you're going to be. And then it stopped. And then another friend showed up. And then I said the same thing inside my dream, and then it stopped. And at this point, I was finally like, okay, I need to tell somebody because I am going crazy. So I told my best friend, and my best friend was the one who was like, yeah, she's been my best friend since I was 12. And she's like, I've always known this about you. How do you not know this about yourself? But she's like, but because of, she didn't say the word depressed because that's just not how we talked then, but she's like, you need to figure out how to get happy though. Like the way that you've lived your life, the way that you're living your life, I don't think you should mess with any of this until you learn to get happy. And I was like, okay, you're right. So that was the day that I looked up in my kitchen, and I was like, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you want, but I'm sick of being scared. I'm willing to do this, but the next time you scare me, I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. And so around this time, like all these things were happening. I was crying one night, just crying out for help. Like I was having a really rough night, really depressive episode, like sobbing. And then books just literally flew off my shelf when I asked for help. I was talking to my grandma out loud, I think. And then I was like, okay, like stop crying, put the books back on the shelf. It never happened before, it never happened again. And then there was times at work where, and these are all things, guys, I just want you to see if you can relate to any of these things. There was a time at work where I was doing expense reports, and I loathed expense reports. I was doing all these expense reports, and I just wanted to get through them. And I kept hearing this name in my head over and over again, first and last name. I'll just give first here. I kept hearing Johnny, 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 and I'm like, that's so weird. Like, I haven't seen this kid. So I'm 22, 23 at this point. I haven't seen this kid since 6th grade. So since I was 11 or 12 years old. No Facebook friends, no connection, no nothing. So I'm hearing his name. Then I start smelling him. I'm like, how do I remember what this guy smells like? This is so strange. And it was incessant. And it was like, Google, Google, Google his name, Google his name. So first I went to Facebook. I found nothing. So I was like, this is so weird. Ashley, get back to work. I just want to get through this. And it wouldn't stop. So I was like, fine. Like, I remember getting really mad. And I was like, fine. And I went and Googled his name. And the first thing that popped up was his obituary. He had died 3 months before. And then I saw him jumping up and down, and my whole body went numb, and only my friend and my sister knew what I had been like tapping into or working on. And so I called my sister, and still, like, looking back on these things and how they progressed and how they happened and how they kept getting more abundant and more abundant and more abundant, I just wish that I had known. Like, I wish I had been set up earlier in my life, because I wouldn't have had to deal with so much struggle. I wouldn't have had to figure this out on my own. Like, I would have had the techniques in place to be able to work through all this stuff, right? And not have it overwhelm me. Now, those last 3 stories, because after I started doing the work, my friends that were appearing to me like all nasty and mean, they came back to me after I'd set my personal boundaries. I helped them cross over. It was beautiful. So those stories, like the stories about my grandma and my friends, like those are beautiful things. But those things came to me in a very overwhelmed time when I wasn't really prepared to deal with it. Does that make sense? Like, it was coming at me so quickly and so often that I had no other choice except to tap in, because at this point it had opened up and I had shut it down. It had opened up and I had shut it down, and I would ignore it and I would pretend it wasn't there, and it got undeniable. It got to a point where it was completely undeniable. Okay, guys, so give me 1 second. I'm going to check the comments. I'm going to look on my computer because it's just a lot easier to see the comments in that way. So let's see. Ooh, there's a lot of comments. There's a lot of people here. I'm excited. Hi, Lori. That's strange that it said the video hadn't started. I'm glad you got in too. Hi, Carol. The smell of peppermint tea. Thank you, Ashley, for this 3-day workshop. You're so welcome. I know, Dee Dee, so many new people, right? Let's see. Oh, thank you. Dee Dee said, when you shared back in April some of these symptoms, I'm so glad you did. They spoke directly to me and pulled me in. Thank you, Dee Dee. That means a lot. And Dee Dee says her too, very rarely down because of a cold or sick now, just an energetic reboot. Yeah, that's really it. It's like we tune into our bodies so much more now that it's like, okay, I'm willing to take a nap because I can feel my body trying to pull me down and I'm just not available to go there. So I'm going to rest instead. And then you wake up and it's like, you're better. Maria, you don't belong depressed or sad all the time. No one does. Everyone deserves to feel how beautiful this life can be. And I didn't, honestly, and this comes up later, but I didn't know how beautiful life could be because I had never experienced that for more than like a minute or two at a time, right? So life gets really beautiful. Life changes completely when we do this work. I can feel that 100%. Never really thought of it in that way. Hi, Susan. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking. Yes, Maria, I agree with Dee Dee. I think your gifts are going to emerge, and we've talked before, so I know it's there. I think it's making space for it, right? And so that's what the intuitive development course is for, and to show you how to refine it as well. And I think that you already have the course, so you actually have access to all the new videos as well. Can you elaborate on crossing the spirit over? So, Greg, basically it means to help them cross over into the light, because they kind of get stuck sometimes, or they feel guilty, and they don't know that they can cross over, and then it's kind of like they miss their cutoff, so they need a little bit of assistance. As far as going really, really deep into it, I go really into that in my mediumship diving deeper program. Today I have to stay on track or we'll never get through all of this, but there's also some stuff in the intuitive development program a little bit as well. Shut it down and set boundaries. Yeah, so we can shut it down. Kelly says she has felt much of the same. Shut it down and then set boundaries. We can shut it down. It's always going to come back though, because it's part of who we are. We can't deny it. We can't ever completely get rid of it. It'll show up. We can shut it down a little bit for a while again. But remember what I said, like it's going to get to a point where it's just overwhelming. So you kind of have to choose, like, let's choose the easy way. Let's choose to flow. Let's choose to explore this. Let's choose to return to who we are, versus constantly fighting against ourselves and making life 10 times harder than it needs to be. And often you'll find too that if you are intuitive and you're not willing to tap into it, and you constantly have things going wrong for you, then that is Spirit's way of like, nope, I'm going to throw this stick in front of you again, so that you slow down and you look at who you are. Go 5 steps, I'm going to throw a stick in front of you again, and now it's like, okay, like, surrender, stop throwing the sticks in front of me. Does that make sense, guys? Oh, thank you. Thanks, guys. Dee Dee says, I'm a whole new person now from attended my first live with Ashley, and we've done a lot of work together. And Kelly says, your workshops and your online courses help me so much. Thank you, guys. Yes, Marie, I have a link to the course right here. And actually, I have set it up this time around so that you have, and there's an introductory price. So the intuitive development course is only going to be open until the 1st of December. I usually leave it open all year. Now, because I've added so much and I want to really be able to give my students what they need, like, I'm always available to you. So if you have a question about the course, you can email me. And I want to make sure that I have a group of people so that it's not open all the time for enrollment anymore, so that I can really focus on you guys if you have questions. Does that make sense? So right now you can do, you get $300 off this week. So through Friday, so today, tomorrow, and Friday, you get $300 off the course if you sign up today or tomorrow or Friday. Then it's going up to the full price, and then it will be off, unavailable completely. So this is only going to be available through the 1st. The discounted price is only available through Friday, you guys. So I posted the link below, and now I have it set up for payment plans too. So you can enroll, and if that fits your budget better, you'll save a little bit of money if you pay in full, but if you enroll and you do payment plans, it will come out bi-weekly, and it's just a more affordable budgeting option for some people. But it's definitely gonna help you. It goes through all the clairs. It helps you work through these things to expand your intuition, to move out of the depression, to start setting those boundaries. All the things that we're talking about in here, this course is going to teach you how to do those things, teach you how to overcome that depression, how to overcome the fear, all of that, okay? So yes, so let me see, there's a couple more. So here's the link. Kelly, I love you guys. You guys are so sweet to me. You're welcome, Marie. So I hope, and like I said, so there's a couple different options on here, but this course is a bundle of all the things that I have done, of all the things that I've taught myself, of all the things that I've gathered from all of my mentors. I put them in one place. Like that saying, be who you needed when you were younger. This course is what I needed when I got started, because it has everything, and it has it laid out and broken out into different steps and manageable steps and down to earth steps. And it's easy to follow, and it also is going to help you integrate this into your entire life. Not just like if you want to sit down and give a reading. That's actually not what it's even for. It's not for giving readings. It's for tapping into your intuition so that you can tap into your life and live your life how you want to live it in a full, fulfilled way. And stop being scared, and stop like fucking fighting yourself all the time. Stop fighting the things that you're feeling. Stop fighting life. Stop getting those sticks thrown in front of you so that you can embrace life and flow with life and actually be guided. Does that make sense? Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I know, Kelly, it was actually, you guys, the payment plan was because I kept getting a couple people that were like, do you have payment plans? Do you have payment plans? And I tried to set them up. And then I was like, there's got to be a more easier way to do this. So I did. I have payment plan for this now. And I'm going to set it up for coaching as well in the future. Okay, so let's get back to our slides. Where did they go? There they are. Okay, you guys. So does anybody have any questions about what has come up so far? It seems like a lot of people can totally relate. And again, like, you don't have to be a depressed person or like live in the dark to feel and understand what's coming up in this class today. It's about being guided. It's about being available for yourself. It's about meeting yourself and finally flowing and stop. Like, what I'm hearing right now is just letting go of all of the resistance, letting go and trusting. And that's what we're talking about tomorrow. Okay. So here's something, like, I was kind of sitting on this. Also, if you know me, I am obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts, half sweet, half unsweet tea. Like, I would take a gallon of it as a Christmas gift. I'm that obsessed. Side note. So I was sitting on this the other day and I was really, really trying to get clear, and I was journaling on it. And I was like, what is the anxiety? Like, what is anxiety? Because so many people experience it and we feel it, and I know how to teach people how to work through it. I know how to utilize spirit to work through our anxiety. I know how to utilize breathing and meditation to work through our anxiety. But what is anxiety? And I asked Spirit, and this is what I got. Anxiety is energy displaced. Anxiety is energy displaced. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because we're taking on energy, or we're feeling other people's energy, or we're feeling Spirit's energy, which we're going to get to in a second. Or the energy displaced is we're worrying too much about what's in the future. So we're putting our energy in the future. We're worried too much about what's in the past, or we're worried too much about our to-do list. Our our energy isn't here. Our energy isn't centered. Our energy is like a million molecules bouncing around, right? Like, it's just busy. It's busy energy. It's energy displaced. So intuitives often feel anxious as a result of Spirit trying to get their attention. This like blew my mind when I finally figured it out. So many people struggle with anxiety. I thought I saw an owl, but I didn't. Need new contacts. So bloopers. It blew my mind when I realized that we can not only be feeling other people's energy, like, I got that. I think anybody can wrap their mind around that. You go into a room, there's one anxious, mad, angry person, and it affects the room, right? Like, we know that. There's no denying it. I don't think the most down-to-earth, logical, skeptical person can deny that one person's energy can change the vibe of a whole room. But what I didn't know was that Spirit can do the same thing. And Spirit can personally affect you if they know that you're a lighthouse, if they know that you have the ability to connect with them before you even do. So think about it like this. You have a little kid. No, an adult. Adults can be more annoying than little kids. You have this oversized, large adult child behind you, and they're constantly tapping you on the shoulder. And they're like, hey, Ashley, hey, can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? And you're like, okay, I'm just trying to ignore them. I'm just trying to do my work. Like, I got to get through this. Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, can you hear me? And you keep getting this over and over and over and over again, and they won't go away. And their energy isn't bad, and it can even be happy, but it's extra energy that you can't put your finger on. So if Spirit is there and you're not aware of them being there, but they're there and they're trying to get your attention, it's having the equivalent of someone tugging on your shoulder or poking on you or just like bouncing around all around you. Like I said with my friend Johnny that came through, he just kept giving me his name over and over and over, and I didn't know where it was coming from. I thought it was me. I thought it was my like voice telling me his name, and I thought it was weird of me, and I started placing all these judgments on me for hearing this guy's name. Like, why am I thinking of this person however many years later, like 15 years later or whatever? Why am I thinking of this person? It wasn't me at all. It was him. And so spirit is like this. Like, we can have angelic energy, and I'll get to that in a second. We have angelic energy, we can have spirit energy, we can have low vibe energy, high vibe energy, whatever it is. If you don't have your boundaries set, if you haven't learned how to tap into it through your own intuition, so if you're predominantly claircognizant, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, there we go, then you might be trying to tap into it, but it might not be effective because you're trying to tap in the wrong way. So you're a clairaudient person and you're trying to hear it. Or sorry, you're a clairvoyant person and you're trying to hear it with your clairaudience. Well, that's not going to work. Or you feel things, but you're trying to see something. That's not going to work, right? So you've got to get to where you can tap into your intuition, utilize it in the correct way to receive the messages that are trying to come to you. And this isn't always about spirit. So that's what we're talking about right here. That's what a lot of people are here for. But what about being guided? What about that gut feeling? Like, I have this gut feeling, something bad's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. How do I put my finger on what that is? How do I get that information? Like, I feel like I'm not supposed to go here. I feel like I'm not supposed to be around this person. Why? Right? Like, this can show up in so many ways. It can show up in your job. It can show up with people. It can show up with spirit. But we've got to be able to put our finger on it. How can we put our finger on it if we're flexing the wrong muscles or we're unaware, we're unavailable to even look at it, right? And one of the things that I always tell people, I just told this to someone on my last session, we so often flex the wrong muscles to try to receive this information. And then people get frustrated. I did it. That's why I created this program. I don't know anybody else that has a program even close to this one, because this one breaks out. Here's what you do for clairvoyance. Here's what you do for claircognizance. Here's what you do for clairsentience. Here's what you do as an empath. Here's what you do to protect your energy. Here's how you learn to trust yourself. Here's what you do for fear. Like, there's a video for each thing, each question that you have. Drop it below. I bet that it's in the program, because I thought of all the things that I needed. And so I don't know any other teacher that teaches it like this, because if you are doing squats at the gym and you're trying to get bigger biceps, you're probably not going to get bigger biceps, right? Because you're doing squats, and that's a completely different muscle. So just like if you're trying to see, this is what Spirit's given this to me, and I've never said this ever before, so it's definitely coming from Spirit. You can't see with your ears. You can't see with your ears, right? So you've got to tap into the right sense. You can't taste with your eyes. Like, this is all coming from Spirit. I don't know who needs this, but apparently this is for someone, because I've never said this. Can't taste with your eyes. You can't see with your ears, right? So you've got to make sure that you're using the right sense to tap in, okay? So when you're intuitive but don't know, okay, so I'm gonna read off the slide, kind of repeating what I already said. But when you're intuitive but you don't know how to tap into it, Spirit can be trying their hardest to grab your attention, but all you will feel is energy that you can't even put your finger on. Also, and this is a big one, and this was one that I had a problem with for a while. I don't know why. So let me just I'll give you a little bit of background of me too, and I don't want to offend anyone, but if my Mama Kay is in here, which I don't know if she is, but my best friend's mom that I mentioned earlier, she shows up in my live sometimes. I did not. Okay, let me put it this way. I always knew there was a higher power. I always trusted there was, because I had always had these experiences. But I didn't believe. I didn't believe in a God. I didn't believe in really anything. I was very agnostic. I was very pessimistic. Like I said, I was just very negative. And you guys, I was so depressed at points that, like, I honestly considered, like, taking my own life. Like, it was really bad at some points. And so I just didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in any of it. And so when I started doing this work, I could wrap my mind around spirit, because that's something that I had felt. And I could wrap my mind around the deceased coming to you, because I had experienced that in my dreams and in the physical. I could wrap my mind around feeling energy, because I had fought to push it away for so long. What I couldn't wrap my mind around was, like, angels. For some reason, I didn't grow up religious, but both sides of my families kind of were. So like my mom took me to church when she thought I needed Jesus in my life, and then my dad's family was very Baptist. So to me, it was really bad of me to say like, oh, I can feel angel energy, or oh, there's angels around me. Like I just felt really bad. Like I had this context around it. I don't know why. Until I actually felt it, and I was like, oh my God, what is that? Like, what is that? It scared me because the energy was so high vibe, and it came in so quickly, almost where I couldn't breathe, and I felt like something was sitting on my chest, and I was jittery, like I just drank a cup of coffee. Like it was very, very new, and it was very different to me. And I finally tapped in, and I finally figured out what it was. It's this the highest vibrational energy that you can get, the highest vibrational energy that you can feel. And it's beautiful, beautiful, supportive energy that works very quickly, actually. Like angel energy, your guardian angels, that kind of thing works very, very quickly. But I, one, wasn't comfortable with it. And then two, I didn't understand why it felt like anxiety. Like it felt like an anxiety attack almost. And sorry, I was reading a comment. So, it felt almost like an anxiety attack. And then what I learned to do, and so this is in the course too, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to upset the people that have enrolled, but what I learned to do was acclimate to the energy that I was feeling. That's the best way that I can put it. I learned to send the energy away a little bit and call it in little by little by little until I was comfortable in receiving it. I could sit in it for a minute, and then I could allow it to come all the way in. And now, like I've been doing this work for a long time now, so now my vibration is higher. So feeling the energy that's coming in is more of a vibrational match, and it's not so jarring to me. Does that make sense? So as we become more of a vibrational match for higher vibrational energy, it's not so jarring. It doesn't feel like anxiety. We can start to recognize it. And you can learn how to do these things in the course. You learn how to adjust to energy. You learn how to tap in to your clairsentience and realize when there is energy that's trying to get to you. How do you make yourself available to it? How do you get the message around it? Does that make sense, guys? So it's often just, and for people, I don't know if anybody on this call is like this, but there have been multiple people that I have worked with, multiple clients, colleagues even, that have always been labeled, like people label them as like too much, like you're being too much, your energy's too much, you're too bold, you're too loud, you're too energetic, you're too this, you're too that. And they can't. Actually, like a lot of, I won't go there, but just a lot of high energy people and children are labeled as like too much, and they try to pull it and rein it in, when really all that they have is this untapped like angelic energy around them available to them. And if they just tapped into it, man, can they create like miracles. Like seriously, it's just amazing. And I remember crying with one of my clients when I was on the phone with her, because I'm like, you have this like crazy angel energy around you, and like this is what it's telling me, and this is how you're feeling. And I gave her all these things, and she's crying, and she's like, yeah, I've always felt it, I just never knew what it was. Like I always thought there was something wrong with me. And now she's doing amazing intuitive work. After realizing that that was what was around her, that's what she was feeling, she tapped into it, and now she's doing amazing intuitive work. She has her own practice. So just to let you guys know how this kind of stuff, these small little things, these small little adjustments can change your life. And so holding on to the energy, so we're still talking about anxiety. I just keep going, riffing off of other things. Holding the energy and emotions of other people obviously can come up as an anxious feeling. So a lot of the times we don't feel that we're empathic. I never really thought that I was empathic. I never really thought that I took on the moods and emotions of other people. I just knew other people pissed me off a lot, and other people triggered me really easily. And I would just get mad and like hold grudges, and I didn't know how to work through things, and I didn't know how to let things go, and I let things sit on my heart and manifest and grow. And so, that too, their worries, their feelings, their cords that they attach to you energetically, their psychic attacks, that all can cause anxious feelings within you. And when we learn to decipher our energy from another's energy, we are freeing. Life changes drastically and we can let go. Like when you can learn to ask yourself and tap in and tune into, whose energy is this? Is this mine? No. Do I need to hang on to it? No. Okay, can I let it go? Yes. And then it's really that easy. It's just a process. It's a process of knowing how to do it, which area it's coming from, where it's coming from, and then letting it go, choosing to let it go and choosing to de-cord from it, cutting the cord from it. And so it all goes back to utilizing your guides, utilizing your higher self, tapping into your own intuition, tapping into your physical body and the way that it's responding to the energy, and then choosing to feel it in your heart and choosing to let it go. And that's one of the new videos in the course. Okay, so what time are we at? Okay, so okay, we're almost done, guys. So 2 definable moments pushed me to really want to change forever, made me say like, okay, I'm just not available to live my life like this anymore. And I've told you guys about one of them already, when it was just like things kept coming. I was being watched all the time, and then my friends kept showing up in my dreams, and I just like kind of hit my rock bottom, right? And I was anxious, and I had the OCD, and I had like developed the rash. You guys, like they were like real rashes on my hands just from washing my hands so much, because of all of the sense of control that I was trying to gain from constantly fighting myself, constantly trying to push this energy away. Like I don't know any other way to explain it than being in a constant fight with the energy around me. And so that was one of the definable moments when I called my friend and I was like, all right, like, I don't know what to do. I'm crazy. And she's like, no, you're not crazy. You're just like, I think you're a psychic or something like that. And then she's like, just figure it out, figure out how to get happy. So I started going down the path of trying to get happy. And as I started doing those things, like working with the law of attraction, which by the way, if I'm being completely honest, I thought was complete bullshit. I thought it was bullshit in the beginning when I'm watching The Secret and they're like, just say these affirmations and everything will change for you. You have to believe what you receive, or you have to believe and then you'll receive. Like I thought it was bull, but it wasn't. Like it changed for me. It put me into the vibration of it put me into a state of having to say these affirmations, and it may work differently for different people, but for me, it was uncomfortable to say those affirmations. It was uncomfortable to say, I am beautiful. It was uncomfortable to say, I am safe. It was uncomfortable to say, like, things are always working out for me. And that is what told me that I really had some work to do, because just saying those things shouldn't be uncomfortable in my body. And then when I tried to look at myself in the mirror and say, I love you, Ashley, and I couldn't do it, like I actually physically could not do it, and I was hitting the counter, I was getting so mad, and I had tears streaming down my face because I couldn't say it, that taught me a lot about myself too. And so then I was like, okay, when I finally did say I love you in the mirror, I just started crying, because I realized I had never said that before, and I realized that I should be able to say that to myself without any problem. So that showed me where I was at. And that stuff showed me how to move towards my purpose. That stuff showed me that I needed to start meditating. That stuff showed me that oh my God. Sorry. That stuff showed me that I couldn't live my life like that anymore, that I wasn't available to live my life like that anymore, and that I really needed to discover who I was, and I really needed to learn about who I was. Sorry. So that was, just not being able to do that work and having all of that overwhelming feeling kind of hitting my mental rock bottom or my emotional rock bottom, however you want to look at it, just being exhausted, just being pure exhausted from not being able to sleep, from feeling watched, from fighting all the time. That was my first. And then my second one, and it was a very, very definable moment, was when I had my son at this point, and he was a baby, like maybe 4 months old. And it was like 2 a.m. and he had woken up and my husband wasn't home because he was working overnight. And the way that it was set up was my back was to the window, and then the other side of the room, there were no windows. So it's 2 a.m. and I'm rocking my baby to sleep and I'm already feeling really weird. I'm like, I feel like somebody's watching me. And this was the guest room that I mentioned. His room ended up being the guest room. And I felt like, okay, like I need to get out of here. Baby, please go back to sleep. And then all of a sudden, my dog's sitting next to me. He's looking at the opposite wall. His hair stands up on his back. He starts growling, barking at the opposite wall. Like completely, he saw something that I couldn't see, but I felt. I felt it in there that whole time. He was barking at the exact corner that I felt like some energy was coming from. And that pissed me off enough I took my baby, I ran out of the room. He slept in my room that night. And I said, I'm done. I am done with this. I am done with like just whatever spirit energy is around me. I am done with it. Like I went full on mama bear. Like now you're messing with my kid. Now I am not okay. Like me, I can handle you messing with my kid. Like no, absolutely not. So that's when I went down the rabbit hole. I started learning how to, and it's weird when I went down the rabbit hole, I didn't get like, oh, you should smudge your house. I got very witchy things, probably because that's where my vibration was still at the time. But and witchy isn't bad, but I was getting very like dark things. Like, here's how to get dark spirits out of your house. Maybe that's what I looked up. I don't know. But I got like, put salt over your doorways and bay leaves and cast out the spirits and blah, blah, blah. And I did all of these things and it worked. Like I actually physically saw it leave. I saw like this energy leave the top of our staircase. Like there was a window up there. I saw that. But then I was like, there's something to this and I have got to figure this out. I got to figure this out because in that moment I realized like I do have power over this, but also it scared the crap out of me. It scared me, like actually scared me. And I said I wasn't willing to be scared anymore. So I had work to do, like 360 degrees, right? I was working on getting happy. The work on getting happy was raising my vibration. My vibration was attracting more spirits to me and making me more available to feel the energy. But I had no idea about boundaries. I had no idea about spirit guides. I had no idea what clairsentience was. I had no idea who I was talking to when I was looking up and talking. So that is what the intuitive development course is for. It teaches you all of these things all the way around, right? So, you know, I had another slide, but I just went over all of it. You know, it's just this stuff. Your intuition is very beautiful. It's who you are. It's a part of who you are, who you've always been, and who you always will be. So we can't get rid of it. But it definitely can wreak havoc on your life if you're not in control of it. If you haven't figured out how to manage it and make it work for you. And that's a thing, guys. We have spirit guides, we have angels, we have loved ones, we have ancestors. They all want to work for us. They all want to make themselves available to us. But we're so afraid of the things that we've already felt and we already see how life is. And we're like, I don't want to call anything else in and like make this crap even worse for me. Like, I don't want to make it any worse. That was my thought, at least, that we don't think that they're there, just standing right over there. We don't think they're standing right over there. And all we have to do is give them permission to come in. And then all we have to do is make ourselves available by tapping into their energy to receive their blessings, to receive their guidance, to receive the synchronicities. And we're going to talk about that on day 3. So I don't want to get too far ahead. But you guys, just remember, we're the lighthouses. We have to set spiritual boundaries. We have to say who we are available to connect with and who we are not available to connect with. Even the types of people, even the toxic people in our lives, we've got to start setting boundaries with them. Our intuition has had the power over us, but not anymore. It doesn't get to anymore. Intuitive hips randomly will come in until we acknowledge our gifts and create the space. So that's like a big complaint that I get, and I just talked about this on my last call, is things will come in. Like throughout life, I had cool things happen too, but mostly like the bad things I remember, but I had cool things happen too. But until we create the space, they're not going to happen consistently. They're going to happen when they want to. They're going to happen when we're in a good enough mood for them to make their way to us. They're going to happen when, you know, we feel really loved. Now something cool can happen. And so we're having a really good day. We're having a good day because all these good things keep happening because we're in a good vibration. But what if you were in a good vibration all the time, that the good things could happen all the time? And when the bad thing did happen to you, it's just a moment for you to be like, oh, that's interesting. I must be off my path. I must be on the wrong track. Like, let me readjust really quick. Okay, now the good things are happening again. And that seems like so easy, like too easy or too good to be true, but that is exactly how it happens. And that's what I was saying. When I started doing the self-work, I was like, this can't possibly work. Like, this sounds like magic. This sounds like total woo-woo BS stuff. Well, the woo-woo BS stuff works because it's not BS. It's a little woo-woo, but it's not BS. It works. It's true. It will put you on the path of your dreams. Like, you guys, I was miserable. I was applying for jobs that I was well overqualified for, just because I wanted out of my current job. And then I just started journaling, and I was like wholly like submerged into this self-work, and I was saying affirmations every single day to and from work. And within 7 months, I left my job. Like, this light, love, and spirit had taken off so much in 7 months from a blog that, remember, at the beginning I said I was so pumped when I had just 25 page views in a day. It happened for me. I didn't go out and find it. I didn't set the intention. Actually, when I was younger, I used to say I never ever want to run a business. I never want to have my own business. That seems like way too much work for me. This happened for me. This happened for me as I just made space for myself, as I made space for my spirit team, as I was willing to meditate, as I was willing to sit with them, as I was willing to ask to be guided. I was guided right to where I need to be, with the people that I get to work with the people that I get to connect with, and I get to help people every single day, even when I'm not working with them, just by having my articles and videos available to them, right? Like, I get to help people the way that I needed to be helped, because back then when I was Googling, I was getting some dark stuff. I was getting some scary stuff. Some stuff was telling me I was going to hell just for having these gifts. Some stuff told me that if I opened my chakras, I was going to have like evil spirits around me. Like, and this is why I say the intuitive development course is like nothing else out there, because it has all of the things that I had to work through. Like, the years of things that I had to work through are compiled into one nice, neat little package for you, because I've worked with mediums, I've worked with intuitives who are great mediums and great intuitives who I ended up coaching by the end of the call. When I'm paying for the session, I end up coaching them, because I'm like, do you realize that you could just do this and this, and then you would tap into this? Like, once I still buy myself like a reading or two every year, because people don't know that it can be that easy. People don't know that you can work this muscle and gain this muscle, Like I said earlier, we can't see with our mouth. And then just remember that you're always a vibrational match. So you're a vibrational match for whatever you have in your life right now. And if you want to change your life right now, then you've got to become a vibrational match for what you want to attract. If you are someone that is having the nightmares, that is having the anxiety, that is having the feelings of being watched, well, then your light is on, but your door's not closed, right? Like, your light is on, but it's free for all. And so we've got to get you to where you're setting those boundaries, saying, all right, spirit guides, I need you to surround me, protect me in love and light. And now you're not having the nightmares. So now you can sleep through the night. So now you have more energy to do the meditation and the self-work. And now you're raising the vibration. Now you're tapping into your spirit guides. Like, it's a whole process, you guys. It's a whole process. And I'm going to teach you how you do that in the intuitive development course. Okay, and just remember, like, this is the biggest thing. If you take nothing away from any of my trainings, this journey is a healing journey. This journey is not for you to do cool party tricks. This journey is not for you to, it's not for you to be like, oh, like, I'm a medium. Like, this is a healing journey. And as you choose to heal yourself, you can help others to heal as well. So as you choose to be available for the good things, as you choose to be a vibrational match for your guides, for the intuition that's there, for the guidance that's available to you, the synchronicities just come. The guidance just comes. It's all there for you. Like I said, it's like there's a curtain behind you. All you got to do is open it up. You just got to give it permission to open up. But you've got to put the right processes and boundaries in place to make sure that you're letting the right things in. The things that are going to guide you and not derail you, right? And that's the other thing with this work too, is, and I feel like we're talking about this tomorrow, but that's the other thing. As you start doing this work and you shift and your vibration raises and you realize like how magical life can be, when something does happen, that makes you mad or triggers you or is an old pattern showing up for you, you are much quickly to move through it and let it go. And that's part of why life gets so much easier too, because you won't stay with it. You won't be stuck because you know what it's like to be here. You know what it's like to be down here. And now you know what it's like to be up here. You're probably going to land somewhere in the middle on most days, but you're just not available to go back down here. So it will literally begin to feel uncomfortable within your body. When your vibration gets off, you will start to see it. You will stub your toe in the morning. You will hit traffic on the way to work. And it just is a chance for you to look at, oh, well, what should I be doing? What have I been thinking? What have I been focusing on? Let me shift. And now everything's working out for you. Traffic's moving again, right? So when you stop fearing and you start embracing, the light naturally comes to you. All right, you guys, so that is all I have for today. We are back tomorrow at the same time. Let me see. I'm going to go back to the comments over here. So I want to provide you guys the link to the course again, because remember, it's only open through the 1st, and it's only available at the price that it's at right now for the next 3 days. There are payment plans available, but it's only available, like you get I think it's $300 off today, tomorrow, and Friday. If you enroll after Friday, then it's an extra $300, and it's only available through the 1st, because like I said, this time I'm going to close it. I'm not going to leave it open all year because I want to be available to you. And there's a free coaching call included when you purchase the course after you pay in full. There's a free coaching call available to you too. So I want to make sure that everybody in this group that is signed up gets the best of me, right? I want you to have the best of me. I want me to be available for your emails. I want me to be available for your coaching call. I don't want you to have to wait another 2-3 months after you book your call. And so the only way that I can do that is to actually close it this time. So it's only available, what is today? Today's the 18th. So it's only available for about 12 more days, and it's only available at the price that it's at right now for 3 more days. I'm so glad I'm so glad you found me too, Francesca. You were such a light to work with, for real. Let me see, I'm going through some of the comments. I'm so grateful for you and your teaching and you expanding into new areas. I've learned and integrated so much from you. I'm grateful for you. Oh, Dee Dee, I love you too. You guys, Dee Dee is the best, and she is a really, really great student. Obviously, confidentiality things, but I will tell you guys that she has transformed. We did, it's still available, but it's why can't I think of it? I have a big coaching package. I can't think, my brain's not working right now, but I have a big coaching package where we just really dive deep into transformation. It's 12 sessions, and within the first couple, Dee Dee had done amazing. I just saw transformation in her because of the soul sessions that we were doing. And if anybody's interested in that, I can try to grab you the link too. When you were talking about angels, you mentioned you didn't believe in God. Has that changed since your journey? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have clarified that. I thought that I did. Yes, so I didn't believe in God when I started, and now I have no doubt. I have no doubt that there is a God or source or the universe or whatever you want to call it. It does affirm my belief that I had when I was younger, and that was one of my problems, where I was like, I'm this kid, and this is how I know that I've always been this old soul, connecting since I was younger. But I was, a young kid, and I'm questioning my mom. I'm like, well, why do we go to this church and they go to this church, and who says that we're right and who says that they're right, and who gets to decide that? That seems like that's not real to me, and blah 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 blah. And my mom doesn't even know how to answer my questions. So it did confirm to me though that there's just one. There's one amazing God, amazing source, amazing universe that we all come from, that is a part of all of us, that lives within us. It's who we are. And this journey is about returning to that. So yes, Emma, to answer your question, there is no doubt in my mind at all that we are supported, that we come from one creator, and that they're there. And it's just, and I'd like to leave you guys with this, and I'll go through some of the comments, but I said this to someone yesterday, and I kind of adopted it from one of my coaches. It kind of hit me. But I think we have these ideas around manifesting or money or spending money or a spouse or a home or a career or whatever, where we ask for something, we get it or we get some of it, and then we like feel guilty about asking the universe for more. And we feel guilty about like, well, shouldn't I, like I shouldn't ask for more. I know you already gave me this, but if you give me this one thing, I promise I won't ask for anything again. God is not this parent that's like, no, I already spent $100 on you this month. I'm not going to give you any more. Like, God does not get mad at you for asking for more. God is like, please ask me for more. I will show you the way if you will become a vibrational match. So if you look at it as God wants to give you things, He wants you to do the work, to elevate, to become a match for those. So as you do the self-work, as you tap into who you are, as you tap into the universe, of course you're going to manifest more. That's why I mean, you can't have one without the other. So I just really like that perspective, because that was something that I had a lot of guilt around for a long time. It was like, I don't want to ask for more, because, you know, anytime I did ask for more when I was younger, it was like, no, what are you thinking? So like, but that's not God. God is not like that. Like the universe, however you want to look at it, just wants to love and support us, and we just become a vibrational match for more, and we get quicker, and we do it better, and yeah, and they're always there. Okay, so let me see. I hope that helped you. Jennifer says, I detest my job and I'm willing to do anything else. That's how I was too, Jennifer, but I think we have to first work on ourselves, because this is something that I learned too through my own self-development. And it's this. We can get a new job. We can get a new job tomorrow. But if we don't heal and fix the patterns and find gratitude in what we already have, then we're going to like that new job, or you can apply it to a house or a partner or whatever. We're going to like it for a minute. And then when the newness fades, the same patterns, the same types of people, the same types of situations will start showing up. So when I wanted to lose my job, when I wanted to leave my job, I started saying and writing down in my journal, I am so grateful for what this opportunity has given me. I am so grateful that it allowed me to pay my bills. I'm so grateful for all the things that it taught me, the things that taught me that I want, and the things that it taught me that I don't want in my next job. And I'm so grateful for this person and this person and this experience and this experience. And then I started visualizing, and this is totally off topic, but I think it will help you. I started visualizing somebody else sitting in my seat and me training that person that was sitting in my seat, and that person loving the job and being so excited for it, and me so excited to go on to my next adventure, even though I didn't know what that was at the time. And so we can apply this to our homes, our partners, whatever, but the point is we've got to heal our own feelings around it, let go of the attachment to it, let go of the hate, let go of the anger, and transmute it into gratitude and love. Then we raise our vibration. Then God's like, okay, you're ready for your next thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, we're only available to that which is for our best and highest good. Wow, you guys. Also, we're a little bit over time, but that's okay. Various means. Just reading the comments. Well, oh my gosh, 10 new comments. Thank you, Ashley. So many validations for me today for much of what I've gone through in my reawakening journey. Good, Greg. I'm so happy to help you. I'm so happy to help you. Yes, Dee Dee. Thank you. Dee Dee did the Rise and Shine package, and it includes the intuitive development course. Yes, thank you. And Mary, I'm so glad you could join us. I'm so excited for tomorrow too, you guys. This was great. And Jennifer says, you're spot on. I've been trying that the last couple of days. I like the visualization idea. We'll continue that. Yeah, and there's, like, I teach, there is a little segment in one of the new videos in the course about visualizing a technique that I use to manifest that works really, really quickly and really good too. Oh, thank you, Serena. I am looking forward to tomorrow as well. I'm going to read one last comment, and then I'm going to jump off of here, you guys. Let's see. This time I feel so disconnected to spirit. I have tried asking my guides for a sign that they're around me, and I haven't felt or heard anything. I know it doesn't happen overnight, but I do get discouraged slightly. Samantha, have you taken the intuitive development course? Because that's actually a whole lesson that's in there. What to do when you're not getting anything. That's actually a whole, I'm going to post the link again. That's a whole lesson that's in there. And again, sometimes I invite you to look at like, what's your vibration? I also invite you to look at, are you using the right clair? And then another thing that I want you to look at is, and I teach this in the course too, how to realize when you're up against the wall, when you're creating too much resistance because you're getting frustrated. Because even me, like if I'm too frustrated or I'm trying to connect and I'm not getting it right away, which rarely happens these days, and I don't say that like as egotistically, like normally I'm always in connection with them, so I'm always being led. But there are times where I'm like, where you at? You know, like help a girl out, come on. But that just means we need to back off a little bit and try a different technique, give ourselves a break, and usually just meditate a little bit. Honestly, it usually just means we need to meditate without the intention of connecting, with the intention of connecting to ourselves. And then what's coming through right now too is, what's your higher self work look like? Have you done a lot of connection with your higher self? Maybe it's time for you to work with the higher self in this moment versus spirit guides. So the higher self connection, that's something we're going to talk about tomorrow, really will help you to strengthen your bond with your guides and strengthen your intuition and strengthen, all of those ways that we're led, be it synchronicity, signs, whatever, because your higher self is always with you. So maybe ask to see life through the eyes of your higher self. And then of course the intuitive development course is going to help you. You guys, one last thing, I totally recommend that you go on today and get it, because it's closing in 12 days and it's only at this price for the next. So after today, only 2 more days at this price. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye guys. Thank you for joining me.